Okay, so we're going to start on our backs today. Okay, so go ahead and lie back and keep your knees bent as you roll your way down. And then once you're down, take a couple of breaths and feel your body on the floor. See what everything feels like. Don't stretch your legs out just yet. We want to make sure that the low back feels comfortable here. Take a couple of breaths and notice what the floor feels like. Hard, it's cold, it's supportive, it's coming up to hold you as you begin to relax into it. And then, if your back feels okay here, feel free to stretch your legs out, and we'll start today with a little mini savasana. The legs will stretch out. Let your feet rest a little wider than hip distance. Your toes relax outward naturally. And then our arms are away from the body, maybe a foot or so. I know the floor is cold. Be a shock at first. And then please turn the palms of your hands to face the ceiling. And as you open the palms of your hands, your shoulder joints open. And our shoulder blades settle onto our back. Relax your shoulders, let them soften down into the floor. And take this time to feel your body. Check in and notice any places that are tight or sore or resistant. Scan the body, feel what you feel, externally, internally, noticing your energy level. Once you notice how everything feels and you have a good picture of what's going on in your body this morning, take your attention to your breath and begin to notice what it feels like to breathe. So we're noticing the quality, texture, and rhythm of your breath. Noticing if your breath is moving smoothly or is it rough. Are you breathing deep or shallow? Fast or slow? Taking a measure of how the breath moves, how your body feels. We do all this so that we can make mental notes of what's going on in our body before we begin our practice. And we do something similar at the end of class. So you can really begin to feel and notice and appreciate your time here on your mat. Appreciate your effort and your practice. Breath is almost always a little rough when we first notice. When you're ready, we're going to go ahead and expand our breath, beginning to move into that equal ratio pattern that we always do. Sanskrit term is samavriti. Sama meaning equal. Vriti is the rhythm or the wave. And I like to think of our breath as the waves, as almost like the ocean waves. They come to us without really trying. All we have to do is notice. Each breath comes after the last, never stopping. All we have to do is notice. So as you breathe in, see if you can move your breath a little deeper. Allow your belly to expand and your ribs to expand in all directions. Your ribs will expand out to the sides, chest rises, and even your back ribs will press into the floor gently. Nice, slow, deep, broad breath. And exhale fully and completely, releasing all the tension and stress with it. So samavriti, or equal ratio breath, is where we're breathing in and out the same amount of time. You can do that by feeling your way through, or you could count silently to yourself. Counting to the number 4 or maybe 5. We don't want to make the number too high. It shouldn't be difficult. But we want this breathing pattern to be deeper than normal. We're allowing our breath to help carve space out of our lungs, opening the chest a little bit, clearing the throat, and the nose. Your mind is naturally going to drift away. That's what always happens. That's your brain's job. And when that happens, notice what pulls your attention. Let it go. And focus in on the breath again. Breathing in, notice your belly rise, your chest rise, collarbones get wider. Breathing out, belly falls. Chest settles. You can feel all that stale air leaking through the nose. Just a couple more breaths here. Slow, deep, and broad. Nice work, everybody. Go ahead and drop the technique of breathing, the equal ratio breath. Let it all go and move back to your own breath. Natural rhythm of your own breath. Just breathe normal, no effort. Let your body breathe. It happens by itself. All you have to do is watch. And once again, measure the quality, texture, and notice if anything feels different. When we control the breath this way, sometimes our sinuses begin to drain. So lying on our back or even sitting up, you may cough. That's normal. Opening everything up. And it's interesting, isn't it interesting, that just controlling breath can do that for us. Beginning to open the sinuses, releasing sinus pressure and any sinus headache you might have. Notice what's changed. Your breath may feel like it's moving a little smoother. You might notice a little more space between your breaths. Everything is slowed down. So go ahead and move your fingers and toes here. Begin to move a little bit into the body. And then draw your knees up into your chest. Give yourself a nice tight squeeze. And rock a little bit side to side. And as you rock side to side, wake up the back muscles. Move a little blood flow into your back. And come back to the middle. So we're back on our spine in the center. Take your hands to the top of your knees, and let's move the legs in great big circles. We normally do this at the end of practice, but we'll start with it today. So we press the knees away from us, open the knees wide, and then draw them into the outer ribs, back to the center of your chest. Take it easy, not pushing or pulling, just gentle big circles, beginning to move blood into the hips. Opening and stretching and warming up the area. And now let's reverse those circles. Bring your knees into the chest, take the knees wide towards the outer ribs, toward the floor, and then press them out and away and back to center. And notice how your hips feel different. The sensation may be different when you're moving one direction versus the other. Be curious about that. Be aware of what's going on in your body as you move. And come back to center. Take the hands still to the top of the knees, and let's do some little circles. Both knees go the same direction 2 or 3 or 4 times. We massage the lower part of the back. That sacrum, the place just below the waist and above the tailbone. Reverse those circles. Good, and then back to center. From here, take your arms to the side, palms face the ceiling. When you're ready for an exhale, drop your knees over to the right. Don't go all the way to the floor, just a couple inches above the floor. Inhale, come right back up to center. And then take the knees over to the left. And we'll just do a couple back and forth just to warm up the spine. Continuing going side to side. Use your core muscles. Belly draws in toward the spine. Letting those core muscles lift your legs up and over to the other direction. Good, and then come back up to center. From here, go ahead and draw the knees in, roll to a side, and find your way up. And so today I thought it might be fun to work our feet. We haven't done this in a long time. And some of my folks that are new have never done it. So if you have a blanket and you want to sit up on it, feel free to do that. We'll be here for a few minutes. If you need a blanket, I can loan you one of mine. Sit it flat on the floor. You won't be here an awful long time, but a little bit. So we're going to work the feet. The feet are really interesting because when we have hip or knee or back issues, oftentimes we can look to our feet to see why. There's a reason why we call this the sole of the foot, right? It kind of mirrors the soul as we walk through our life, walk through our day. So we're going to warm up our feet, and so if you don't like playing with your feet, you're going to have to get over it. It's not your day. It's not your day, right? And you can always wash your hands when you're done. So if you don't play. So we're going to start with lifting the right foot or right leg, and see if you can support your ankle with your right hand. And then left hand, we're going to open the fingers really wide. Open your fingers super wide and see if you can weave your fingers in between your toes. You might need a little help with the other hand. See if you can get the web of the fingers all the way down to the web of the toes. So you might have to take your fingers and pull them down. You may have to lift those toes up. Get those fingers right in between your toes. You know, right? If it's really painful, go every other toe. It's going to feel a little edgy, hopefully not too painful. And then we let our hand rest on our ankle rest on the hand. Nice tall posture. And then let's go a couple circles. We're just going to circle the ankle a few times. Ow, ow, ow.
Had the same issue.
Careful, careful. Gentle circles. Nothing really hard. Just easy go. Easy as you go. If it's difficult for you to sit here very long, we can give you a chair too. So no harm in that. When you're ready, reverse those circles. Are your feet as cold as mine?
Yes.
My feet are cold. Good. Once you get all those circles going, you can go ahead and rest your foot or your ankle on your leg. So we're still holding our foot. We've got a good grip, a good handshake. From here, let's go ahead and take the thumb And we're going to begin to massage a little bit the bottom of the foot, so just the best you can. And you can take your other hand too and give yourself a little massage in that arch. If you find an area that feels a little crunchy or edgy, spend a little more time there. Make sure you're breathing. Good, and then from here, we're going to take our fingers now and slide them about halfway out. So maybe knuckles to knuckles if you can. You're going to love this one. When you're ready, you're going to open the fingers really wide. Bring some space between those toes. You guys are going to be so surprised how your feet feel different. So we open the fingers wide. Now squeeze your fingers to your toes. Not too hard. Don't scream in pain. Just, a little pressure. Good. Now release that and squeeze your toes to your fingers. So the toes squeeze the fingers. Now release that. Squeeze the fingers to the toes. Do that back and forth a couple times. Fascinating, right? No? Yeah. All right, good. From here, open the fingers wide again. And then release your toes, let them be free. And then let's make a fist, and I want you to scrub the bottom of your foot. Some people start giggling because they're like, I'm ticklish. I don't know how you tickle yourself, but some people do. Good, and then same thing, pat the bottom of the foot. All right, from here, bring your foot around to front. If you're wearing rings, this might be a little more edgy, so watch the rings. We're going to weave the fingers of the right hand now down between the toes. It's going to be edgier because there's not as much space on the front as there is on the back. So you might reach down again and pull those fingers down, lift the toes up so they get right in between. And get a nice handshake or grip on those toes. My feet were made for this, by the way. I've been known to pick things up with my toes. Once you've got that, maybe stretch into your leg. We haven't stretched the hamstrings, so take your time. Just go to your first bell-achy place you have. Take a few breaths here. Nice tall posture, heart lifting, shoulders soft. If you can't do it, it's okay. It's all right, we haven't stretched out. You're good. And then release. Beautiful. And then release your toes. Let them all be free. And then please stretch your legs out in front of you. And take a look at your feet. Notice the difference between the right and left.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, right? A little more space between the toes of the foot that you worked versus the other. The right foot may look a little more colorful. There's more color there. And then close your eyes. Notice how they feel from side to side. What feels different? You might feel like the foot we worked has a little more lightness to it, a little more energy, versus the other foot may feel a little more dull. Good, and then go ahead and open your eyes. So we have another foot to work. Does anybody need a chair? No? Okay. All right, so same thing. We're going to take the left foot now and weave the fingers in between those toes. This foot's so cold. And then pull your fingers down, so we try to get the webs of the fingers right down in between the webs of the foot. So we're, Becky, turn your head the other way, so you're going back to front. There you go, yeah. We go from the back to the front. And then we hold the foot up and rotate the ankle, so we warm up our ankle. Does anybody get little cracking sounds in their ankle when they move? Crack, snap, will pop. A little bit of air popping out of those knuckles. Reverse your circles. Never did this before, right?
No.
Who would have thought to do this? All right, so we come back down, and we're going to use our thumbs and massage the bottom of the foot just a little bit, kind of wake up the arch. And notice if this foot's going to feel different. One of my feet usually has more knots in it or tight places than the other one. If you can get your partners at home to do this for you, all the better. Show them, well, I don't know, you guess you're on your own then, huh? Yeah. Joe, is it feeling okay? Yeah, okay, good. All right, so once you've got that taken care of, we'll go ahead and move the fingers halfway out. Toes, knuckles to knuckles. And then open your fingers, spread your toes really wide. Now squeeze your toes. Release that, squeeze the toes to the fingers. Release that, fingers to toes. And notice what happens to the arch of your foot when you squeeze your toes to your fingers. Do you see how it engages? All the tendons and muscles engage. That's the arch, that's the lift.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Little cramps. You need a little more potassium or something in your diet. Couple more times. Squeezing toes to fingers, fingers to toes. And then spread them wide again. Open the toes up. Really bring some space in between your toes. And release. And then we make that fist and scrub. Waking everything up. And then pat with the fist. I love when the massage therapists do this to your shoulders. Beautiful. Now come around front. And again, now the left hand, we weave the fingers right into between the toes. And notice this side may feel different, right? Does one foot have more space, or you're able to do it better on one foot versus the other? Yeah. Me too. Try to get the webs of your fingers all the way down to the webs of the toes without crying. Or just halfway, that's okay too. Good, and then when you've got that, you can stay right here. You don't need to go further, but if you want to try to do a little stretch in the back of the leg, you can. Go to that first place where it feels dull and achy, take a breath, get nice and tall, and then maybe start to open a little more. Tight hamstrings, keep your knee bent, it's okay. And release. Release your toes, let them be free. Stretch your legs out. And notice, now, hopefully they look closer to the same amount of space between the toes. Not so much. All right, from here, let's go ahead and stand. You can take the blankets off your mats. Come to the top of your mat. And we're going to play again, just a little bit more. So, Tadasana, toes face straight forward towards the top of the mat. All 5 toes face the front. So that means the baby toe is facing the front, and the outer edges of your feet are lined up or parallel to the outer edges of your mat. So sometimes if your big toe might come in a little bit. It may feel like you're a little bit pigeon-toed. That's okay, we're getting proper alignment in our feet. And then from here, close your eyes and feel your feet. Notice what's going on there. You might notice the arches feel a little higher. They might be lifted. I feel like my feet are kind of like little suction cups. They're suctioning to the mat. Hopefully you feel that too. And then notice how your knees feel here and your hips. Maybe a little different than normal. Maybe more lively, more energy. Good, and then from here, go ahead and lift the toes away from the mat. Notice your body move back into your heels. That's good. We tend to spend a lot of time moving forward in our bodies, so let's get a little heavier in the back. Toes are lifted, heels are heavy. And then can you put just the baby toe down on the floor? Can you put just the 4th toe down on the floor? How about the 3rd toe? Are your fingers helping your toes?
Yes.
How about your tongue? Middle toe down, big toe down. Spread the toes nice and wide. And then Relax them. Tips of the toes reach toward the top of the mat. So now you have these beautiful yogi feet, you guys. Yay! Yay! So we want to take good care of our feet. Always. Good massages, good fitting shoes. Try not to beat them up too much. We often spend most of our day just running through the day, running our errands, never even giving our feet a thought unless they hurt, right? Then it's a loud message. So take good care of your feet. From here, everybody inhale, reach your arms up. Bend your knees and fold into a forward fold. Bend your knees, hold your ankles. Or, hold your elbows. Over and hold your ankles. Elbows, please hold your elbows. Let the forearms drop toward the floor. Lift your shoulders away from your ears slightly, and then sway side to side. So it's perfectly fine to have your knees bent here. We really want to take the hamstrings out of the equation and just unravel the spine. Swinging back and forth like a pendulum in a big old grandfather clock. Releasing, so the whole upper body swinging back and forth, not just the arms. Move back to center, release the elbows. Can you circle your arms behind you and link your fingers? Rest your hands at your sacrum or at the back of your waist. Bend your elbows. Now squeeze the elbows toward each other across your back. You can stay right here, or if you want to take it further, begin to straighten into your arms, lifting them away from your back, up toward the ceiling. Chin tips in toward the chest slightly. Crown of the head drops, knees are bending. Take a big breath, open the chest, shoulders. Beautiful, everybody. Release your hands to the mat. And then let's step back to downward facing dog. Take some time to align your body here. Fingers are spread nice and wide. Fingerprints and knuckles rooting into the floor. Triceps squeeze toward each other, toward your ears. Back of your neck is nice and long. Lift your shoulders away from your ears. Draw your navel into the spine. Can you lift your toes off the floor? So when you lift your toes off the floor, you're just engaged all the muscles on the front of your leg. That's important. We want to keep the muscles engaged while you now let the toes come back down. Spread your toes wide. Heels press back and down. Keep moving the hips toward the wall behind you. Nice long spine. 2 more breaths here. Does your down dog feel a little different since we worked our feet? Go ahead and let your knees come to the floor. And then sink back to child's pose. Hips to heels, chest on or between the thighs, forehead to the floor. If your forehead doesn't touch the floor, stack your fists or your forearms and let your forehead rest there. So child's pose helps us to stretch our low back, our hips and our knees. Helps us to lengthen our spine. When you're inhaling, think about moving the crown of your head toward the front of the room. When you're exhaling, think about pressing the tailbone back behind you toward the wall behind you. Bringing more space into your spine. Just a couple more breaths, breathing in, belly inflating and moving into your thighs. As you exhale, belly draws back up into the spine. Good, and then stretch your arms forward if they're not straight. So we straighten the arms, walk your hands off the mat to the right. Keep your hands shoulder width apart. We're keeping the chest on or between the thighs, so upper body, shoulders, neck, head, arms all go to the right. As you inhale, expand the ribs out to the left. So you're stretching the left side of the body. Left hip presses back and down. Left shoulder softens toward the floor. Breathing in, we breathe space into the left side. Breathing out, that whole left side softens toward the floor. Come back to the middle. Pause, feel, notice the difference between sides. And then move to the second side over to the left. Same thing, same principles, just a different side. Take time to notice how you feel on this side in comparison to the other side. And come back to center. Nice work, everybody. Pause in child's pose. Feel the space you've already created. Notice that you're a little closer to the floor than you were when we first came to this pose. And when you're ready, stretch the arms forward again. Plant your hands firmly on the floor. Spread the fingers really wide. Inhale your way up to tabletop. Curl your toes, lift your knees, find downward facing dog. Walk your feet together so your big toes touch. And then lift your right foot off the floor. We're going to keep our hips level here. So we keep the baby toe facing the floor, hips level. Press your heel back as if you were moving into a wall behind you. And then notice, did your left elbow bend? If it did, keep it nice and strong. So both arms squeeze toward your ears. Back of the neck long, foot pressing back. Navel drawing up and in. Exhale, release. Make any adjustments you need to, and move into the second side. Same thing, different side, hips level. And release. Take your feet hip distance. Pause in down dog, 2 breaths. And then walk or step to the top of your mat. Again, circle the arms behind you, stretch the shoulders, and notice how you feel different this time. A little more space there. Release the arms and sweep them down and up. Take your time coming up. You were upside down a long time. Big front body stretch. Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, hands to nice job, everybody. From here, let's try out those new feet in a balancing pose. Let's try tree pose. So a couple of things about tree pose. If you know you're going to have a lot of trouble balancing, you can move to a wall or use a chair. A harder surface is a little less challenging, so stepping off the mat might help you. And then remember to look at something that's not moving. So looking 3 or 4 feet out in front of you on the floor is usually good because the floor is hopefully not going to move. Maybe looking at a blanket or somebody else's mat. If you're gazing forward at me and I start moving about, losing my balance, you might also. So gaze is really important. And then remember that our whole body is muscularly engaged. So we're lifting the knees. We're extending the tailbone, we're drawing the belly in, shoulders are soft, so you can feel all the muscles of your body engaging, but we're not clenching. Just everything is nice and firm. That's going to help you with that balance. When you're ready, all of your weight moves to the right foot. Make sure your toes are facing forward. And then move into the pose at your own level. So either heel resting at the ankle with toes on the floor, that's the first step. Maybe slide your leg up, your foot up your leg to your calf muscle. It's the pressure of the camera. Maybe slide your foot up onto your thigh. You can reach down, lift the ankle, bring your foot right onto your thigh. And if you get there, press the thigh and the foot firmly together. Hands come to your heart. Remember to breathe. And if you feel solid in the pose and you want to try lifting hands up towards the ceiling, lift your eyes. And notice how you never really stop moving. Even when you're balancing and holding still, your body's still waving, still moving, just like maybe the branches of a tree. Exhale, hands to your heart, and bring your foot back to the floor. Close your eyes. Feel the difference in your sides. You might really notice the difference in the hips because this is a hip opener. Tree pose is a hip opener, so your hips may feel different. Remember that when you're in tree pose, your knee is reaching out to the side. Hips stay square toward the front of the room. So root deeply into the floor like you're sending the roots of your own tree down into the earth. And then when you're ready, open your eyes and we move to the second side. Same principles, just a different side. And in yoga, we learned that our sides are very different. One is always a little bit more flexible. One's always a little more balanced. One is usually a little stronger. Find your level where you want to stay. Find your breath and breathe. Yoga is breath, so if you're holding your breath, you've stopped doing the practice. When you feel firmly grounded and a good foundation, maybe lift your arms up. You don't have to. Never a command. Just a suggestion, giving yourself a little challenge. And maybe try turning the corners of your mouth into a smile and see if you can still hold your balance. You know, when you smile in a yoga pose, that's the most advanced you can ever get. When you're ready to release, let your exhale move you back to mountain pose. Pause, close your eyes and breathe. And then float your eyes open. If you're not the front of your mat, go ahead and move to the front of your mat. Inhale, reach the arms up and over your head. Exhale, fold into your forward bend. Inhale, lengthen your spine, move away from your legs just a few inches. Exhale, fold closer. Inhale, lengthen, nice long spine. Exhale, fold in. Last time, breathe in. Exhale, fold. From here, bend your knees, take your seat to the floor. Keep your knees bent. Use your tight core muscles as you roll your way down onto your back. And then draw your knees into your chest. Squeeze the knees down and rock side to side. Coming back to the center of your back. Move your knees so that they're level right over the hips. So we're going to move the knees forward so they're right over the hips. Lift your ankles to the level of your knees and put the inner toes or the inner side of your feet together. So the big toes and the inner heels squeeze together. Squeeze your knees if you can. Take your arms to the side, palms face the ceiling. And then if you can, maybe bend your elbows for saguaro cactus arms. We're in Arizona, saguaro cactus arms. If when you do that, it causes any discomfort in your shoulders or your wrists come off the floor, then go ahead and keep your arms straight. So palms face the ceiling, arms straight out to the sides in a T or saguaro cactus. When you're ready, breathe in. Exhale, move the knees over to the right, just a few inches above the floor. Inhale, lift the knees back up. So we did this at the beginning of class. But we had the knees dropping closer to the chest. That was more, giving us more twisting. Inhale up, exhale the other way. Keep going, take your time. It's less challenging to bring the knees closer to the chest, that's your choice. Just kind of waking up our core muscles a little bit before we enter our last pose today. Let the last time be to the left since we started on the right. Come back up to center. And then bring the knees into your chest. Rock a little side to side if that feels good. And then come back to middle. Take your feet to the floor. Cross your right ankle over your left thigh. Lift your left foot off the floor. And then we engage our feet. So the toes pull back towards the knees for yogi feet. Make sure you're level on your hips. Link your fingers behind the left thigh. And begin to draw your left knee in towards your left shoulder. Maybe use your right elbow to press the right thigh away. We won't stay here long, just a few breaths. So we want to try to make sure that your tailbone's extending towards the top of the mat, maybe even pressing the sacrum into the floor. So you're pressing that lowest part of your back down. At the same time, drawing that left knee into the left shoulder. Take a few breaths, belly rising and falling with each breath. Maybe tip to the left just a little bit so that you're on the middle of your back. We tend to try to escape this pose because it's not comfortable. Our body says, let's move to the right, it feels better. We want to stay over towards the left. One more big breath. Exhale, release, both feet come to the floor. Pause, notice, feel. And then second side, left ankle over the right thigh, lift your right foot off the floor, link your fingers. And as you draw your right knee in toward the right shoulder, left thigh moves away. So you can use that left elbow maybe. If you can't get your left elbow, maybe release your legs and use your hand to press that left thigh away. And again, sacrum pressing down into the floor, tailbone extending or reaching toward the top of the mat, shoulders soft. Breathe. And release. Nice work, everybody. Pause, notice, feel. And one more time, knees into the chest. Rock a little side to side. So sometimes rocking doesn't feel good for all of us. If this causes you discomfort, then don't rock. Just rest. Back to center. And let's do a few rounds of Apanasana. Squeeze the knees down as you exhale, releasing your breath. Move your knees away from you as you inhale, making room for the belly to rise. Exhale, squeeze the knees in, nice and slow. Beautiful. When you're ready, go ahead and stretch out for your last pose. So Shavasana is our resting pose. You might find that your body cools as you rest. So if you have socks or jackets or anything you'd like to put on to keep you warm, feel free to do that. If you have a blanket you'd like to drape that over you, that also helps to keep us warm and can calm our minds a bit. A blanket draped over the hips definitely calms the mind. We stretch out on our back. We are right back where we began. Feel the floor. Let your feet rest a little wider than hip distance. Relax your toes naturally out. Let your arms move away from your body, just about a foot, maybe 8 inches or foot. Palms face the ceiling, opening the shoulders. And soften. Soften all the body parts. Let your heels get heavy as they sink down into the floor, into the earth. Soften your hips. Relax your shoulders. Allow the collarbones to widen and separate. Relax your throat. Feel your body melting into the floor. Feel the support of the earth as it comes up to hold you, cradling you, protecting you as you surrender and let go. Savasana is corpse pose. It's a surrender, it's a letting go, it's a release. We begin to let go of all those things that no longer serve us. That gives us more space in our life for new routines, healthier habits, new relationships. Soften your throat. Unclench your teeth and relax your jaw. Imagine that your nose is soft and it could melt into your face. Cheekbones soft, cheeks heavy. Release and relax the outer edges of your eyes. Let your eyeballs sink into their sockets deeper and deeper and deeper. Notice the space between your eyebrows and let that space get wider. Widen the space between the eyebrows. Relax your forehead. Begin to move your attention now to your breath. Not moving or molding or pushing the breath, just observe. Watch your body breathe. See the belly, your belly rise and fall with each breath you take. Breathing in, I know I breathe in. Breathing out, I know I breathe out. Rest. Relax and enjoy this final pose of your practice. Enjoy. Begin to allow your breath to deepen. As you breathe into your whole body, feel the breath moving out your limbs to fingers and toes, and wiggle into them so you bring movement back to your body slowly. When you feel ready, draw your knees into your chest and give yourself a good tight hug of love. Appreciate your body for getting you here, carrying you through your class. Appreciate your effort here on the mat today. Rock a little side to side as long as that feels good. And when you're ready, roll to a side. Take your resting arm over your head so you can rest your head on your arm. Tuck your knees up close to your chest. So we're in a fetal position. Knees tucked close to the chest, head resting on your arm. Take a moment here to scan your body and notice what you feel like. Remember how you felt just an hour ago when we began class. Notice the difference, notice the changes, and know that whatever changes you feel, you did that, you created that for yourself with this practice. More space in your body, more space between your breaths, and more space between your thoughts. That gives us more peace in our minds, more clarity, more focus. That is the magic of yoga. When you're ready, come up from your side and have a seat just one more time. Take a nice tall seat. Bring your hands together in front of you. Anjali Mudra. Pressing the fingers into palms. Shoulders soft, crown of your head lifted. Seat heavy. And we're going to take a cleansing breath. So as you're ready, breathe in as big as you can. Bring in all that oxygen and energy. And then a great big exhale. And sigh. Let go of any stress or tension you're still holding. Thank you all for being here today and allowing me to guide you through your practice. That is always my greatest honor. Please always remember, as you move out into your day, that your presence matters to everyone around you. So keep showing up and always be present. I honor the light that is in each of you. Namaste. Namaste. Thank you.